You can stop. You can stop. My mom doesn't want to use it that much.
Let yourself, Anthony.
And pause the out in the set.
Can you please tell us a brief history of the Dominicans?
Brief history of the Dominicans. I just did that. Okay. No. That's fine. So, Saint Dominic founded the order in 1216, and he founded it, like we had mentioned a little bit earlier, to be an order of preachers. So, preachers who would be able to study and know and teach the truth of the faith in the face of any errors or heresies that were misleading the people. So we exist, we're founded to exist, and God willing still exist, to lead people to God through the true teaching about who God is and what He wants for us and what He has planned for us. So we were founded in 1216 and quickly spread throughout the world. One of the kind of historical things that a lot of people will mention is that where monks had always existed before us, we were the first of what are called the mendicant orders. And what that means is that we were radically poor and traveled. So a monk, like if you were a Benedictine, you would take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and you would be vowed to be in your monastery forever. And the only reason you would ever not die in your monastery is if you were sent to found another monastery. The mendicant orders, the Dominicans, the Franciscans, and the Carmelites, were founded with the intention that the friars would travel. So we're more mobile than the monks were. And the other thing that kind of happened is at the same time that the mendicant orders were starting, universities were starting in Europe. So the very first universities that ever existed in the West, the University of Paris, the University of Cologne, the University of Bologna in Italy, and Padua, Naples, all of them had priories. So the friars, where the universities were, the friars preachers were, the Dominicans were. And as universities flourished, the Dominicans flourished, because we lived a life of study. And we realized the need for study. And how all truths, even if it's not theology, will lead people to God. Because if you get the things created by God wrong, you get the one who created them wrong. So we need to learn all truth. So the order spread like wildfire and went to basically every nation.
Our goal that keeps it central in all its endeavors?
That's a great question. So also, like, do the Dominicans have a motto, right? And yes, and there are actually a couple. The one that should kind of make a lot of sense to you, just based on the things that we've already talked about, is veritas, truth. Because truth really does encapsulate not just what we're all about through study and these kinds of things, but who we are all about. Because the Lord Jesus himself said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And so the Dominican order exists to preach the truth of Jesus and the gospel to everyone that we meet, wherever we go, at all times.
In the world, do Dominicans exist?
Everywhere. No, that's true. I guess there aren't friars in Antarctica.
Are there different ways of belonging to Dominicans? For instance, are there some people that dedicate their lives completely to God, they're Dominicans, or there's some that live regular lives in the world, but somehow participate in the mission of the Dominicans?
That's a great question. So, there's a kind of traditional language and terminology that it's not official anymore, but it's still the best and clearest way that I can find to kind of describe how this works. And it's to think that there's one Dominican order, right? But within that, you can talk about first order, second order, and third order. So first order Dominicans.
Ultimately, how many people in the world make up each slave group?
Ooh. Don't know. Yeah, what is it? I think there are 6,000 friars, and I think there are 2,000. Yeah, I want to say 6,000 friars, 2,000 nuns, and don't know how many sisters or third order lay.
Some of the most interesting contributions Dominicans are giving to the church right now?
That's a great question. Themselves. Because there's always this temptation, I think, for all of us to evaluate the worth of something based on what it can do, right? So, you want to go to the best high school because it can do something for you, right? It can get you to go to the best college. And you want to go to the best college because it can do something for you. It can get you the best job. And you want to get the best job because it can do something for you. And it can get you the most money. And you want to get the most money because it can do something for you, right? It can get you things. But then what do things do for us? At the end of the day, it's only one of two things. Either things lead us to God, or they don't. And if they don't, then it's all kibosh, right? The whole chain that people can and do waste their whole lives for is a chain of doing for nothing. Because they don't have a sense of what things are worth. The opposite is to have ultimately the focus on God. And if that's our focus, then the single most important thing that we can do with ourselves, the greatest contribution we can make, is to be like God, right? And that's all that holiness is.
If someone in my class at this time or later wanted to join the Dominicans, what would they do?
That's an awesome question. So it's going to be a little bit different for the guys versus the girls. The first thing I would say is go visit, because whether it's the girls thinking about the lives of the sisters or guys thinking about, is the Lord calling me to be a friar preacher, visit. For me, you can read all the things on the internet about, or everything that Wikipedia has to say about the Dominican order, or the Eastern Province, or, these kinds of things. But it makes all the difference in the world to see men and women joyfully living their vocations. To actually see with your eyes and hear with your ears that someone can give up all things, all people, and themselves, and be made entirely blissfully happy. In a certain sense, that's just as hard to believe as the fact that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, So go see it and believe,
Looking to support the Dominicans or belong to it, but didn't feel like a vocation.
Mm-hmm.
So what would they?
Please give us money. So like I mentioned before, it's not just money, but by supporting in charity, that really is a sharing what the order does.
What else you would like to share with my class before we finish?
I think I've basically spent myself, right? If you have any questions about even silly things like the habit or those kinds of things, I'm happy to answer them. But I'm not going to lay on anything else on you guys.